It may seem from my videos that hiking is all about sunshine and roses, but there are times when things just go wrong. Sometimes it's just plain fun to listen to these stories, and then my engineering background takes over and I look for common causes. Can we all benefit from these stories? How might we avoid getting into these predicaments? That's what today's video is about. Here's a countdown of my 5 worst trail experiences. The lessons will come after I get through all 5. Experience number 5 is really 2 separate incidents. While I was on the Seven Sisters Ridge on the Metacomet-Monadnock Trail, I slipped on some mud and I felt really hard. I thought I'd broken my arm. The other hiker who came up the trail asked if I was okay. When I said I'd just fallen and thought I had a broken arm, he told me, "You should get that checked out." Well, thank heavens for that. I would never have thought to seek medical advice for a potential broken arm without that pearl of wisdom. While I was walking back to my car, about a mile or so away, my shoulder popped a couple of times, and the severe pain went away. I had merely dislocated a shoulder. Still, I spent the next month in a sling recovering. 4 years later, I was 9 trail miles north of Damascus, Virginia, when loose rocks gave out from under my feet. I hit hard and for the second time dislocated my shoulder on the trail. It popped back in immediately, but the trip was over. I hobbled into Damascus, where the town mottos are, "You can't get there from here. You can't get anywhere from here." And you walked into this town, you can walk right out, because as great as a trail town as it is, there's no public transportation. I had to call a shuttle driver in Roanoke to make the 270-mile round trip to get me to where I could catch a train ride home. An orthopedic specialist I saw said a dislocated shoulder in a younger person is actually a bigger deal. Sounds counterintuitive, but look at it this way. A younger person has stronger tendons and joints, and to dislocate their shoulder takes substantial force. Stronger, sturdier body parts get torn. But a fall that they would get up from and shake off might be enough to dislocate an older person's shoulder. It's a good news, bad news story. Experience number 4. I was hiking the John Muir Trail with my college roommate, and around Tuolumne Meadows, I nearly got hypothermia. That's not just a bad experience, it can be dangerous. I went over it in detail in this other video, so I won't go into it here, except to note that it's a danger on the trail at any time of year, even midsummer, and older hikers need to be especially cautious. Worst experience number 3 gave me my trail name, Bad News. I was hiking over the Presidential Range in New Hampshire, and I had the misfortune of having perfect hiking weather. 50 degrees, not a cloud in the sky, nearly 100-mile visibility. I forgot to put sunblock on my legs. My pasty white baby giraffe legs don't see the light of day very often, except when I'm hiking. I was above tree line for nearly 12 hours under those conditions. The next day, after I'd gotten off the range, I discovered I had second-degree burns on my legs. I'll spare you the gory details. The caretakers at the Carter Hut in the White Mountains were very gracious about what my wounds did to the mattress. I think they should have burned it. They said they were going to bleach it. A second-degree sunburn goes physically deeper and heals more slowly in older adults because of less resilient skin, slower cellular repair, and potential comorbidities. Our risk of short-term complications is worse than that of a younger person. Bad experience number 2. My son and I were hiking in the Grand Canyon in 2011. Twice we ran out of water. The first time was in the National Forest on the South Rim. We took water from a pothole and treated it with chemicals. The second time, we were in the canyon itself. That's an extremely dangerous situation in what is essentially a desert. Again, watch my water series videos about the importance of hydration and water treatment for more details. I was also withdrawing from some medications I had been taking. I covered this topic in my video about medications in older hikers. Be aware, even some everyday normal medications can have withdrawal effects if not discontinued properly. Bad experience number 1 was so horrible, I shudder to think about it. I wouldn't wish this on my best enemy, or even on any of the program managers I've dealt with in my career. I was walking down a highway in southern Pennsylvania on my way to a resupply. Busy road, cars whipping by. At one point, a driver honked their car horn at me. Not an obnoxious honk, just like trying to get my attention. Thought maybe I'd dropped something. 2 minutes later, the same car's pulled over on the other side of the road, and this nice lady asked me if I need a ride into town. Now, that would save me about an hour of walking on that highway, so I accepted. We pull into the parking lot at Walmart, and she makes this offer. I know this is probably all the stuff you own, but if you trust me with it, I can keep it in the car while you shop and you can call me when you're done. Now at this point, I'm in a moral dilemma. Do I risk all my equipment or risk insulting someone offering to help? All my possessions versus insulting a stranger? So I said, sure, thanks. And the whole time while shopping, I'm thinking, all my equipment is going to be on eBay, and I'm going to be trying to get home from Waynesboro, Pennsylvania, if that's even possible. I quickly grab everything I need: food, Ziploc bags, a bottle of lime Gatorade, as if somehow by hurrying it would mitigate the chances of someone in an automobile getting too far away for me to catch them. I was calculating how much time to let go by between when I called her and when I would finally call the police. I figured she was off doing errands or something, and I'd have to wait a while before I should panic. As it turned out, she had just parked her car there and waited for me to come out. 30 seconds after I called her, we were back on the way to the trailhead. She saved me about 3 hours trudging along that highway. Anyway, I get to camp, and I'm making supper, and I grab my Gatorade. Now, I've tasted some pretty nasty stuff in my life, beer, tomato juice. As a little nervous little kid taking a test and sucking on a ballpoint pen, getting a mouthful of ink, it's that kind of nasty. So I'm thinking, does Gatorade expire? I didn't realize it could go bad. I checked the bottle for a sell-by date, and I realized the horrible truth. I hadn't grabbed lime Gatorade. I grabbed lime cucumber Gatorade. Yes, such a thing exists. Someone in the Gatorade marketing department needs to rethink their career choices. To make matters worse, I used my old Gatorade bottles as my water reserve. Sure, the water would take on a slight tinge of whatever the flavor was, pleasant enough when it's grape or fruit punch or some flavor an actual human would drink, but I had already thrown those away. I was tasting cucumber-tinged water until my next resupply. So what's the common theme for all of these? They all come down to not paying close attention to our circumstances. Maybe there's no blame when rocks give out below our feet, but my first fall was on mud that I could see and I was trying to jump over. My brush with hypothermia was because I ignored the symptoms and kept hoping a dry place was around the next corner. The sunburns happened despite all the signs at the huts mentioning sunblock. Running out of water in the Grand Canyon was from letting excitement and enthusiasm overcome the need to get better intel on the water availability. The Gatorade episode was from being so distracted by circumstances that I didn't read the label carefully. Presence of mind can save us from a lot of bad results. Nearly every one of these bad experiences was avoidable. There's a little coda to that Gatorade story. By the time I got to Virginia, it was time for resupply again, and the hostel owners brought a bunch of us into Front Royal to shop. You can be sure that the Gatorade I bought was an actual flavor fit for human consumption. The next morning, breakfast at the hostel was at 6:30 a.m. A beautiful spread of scrambled eggs, bacon, sausage, toast, orange juice, and 2 big pitchers of crystal clear cold water. Things were floating in that water. Green things. Half of them were lime slices. The other half, I still have nightmares about it. If you find this content interesting, please like, share, subscribe, and comment on this or other topics you'd like me to cover. And if you haven't seen this video, please take a look at it now. Thanks for listening.